Maqasidic Tafsir.
Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end? Pursuing the higher aim, learning the meaning of every page. Ooh, where should I begin when I'm starting at the end?
Another addition to your Islamic education, Maqasidic Tafsir, Healing and Governance, the Transformative Path of Sabah as-Tiwal, written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Join Ustad Laila Nasheeba every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m., streaming all major platforms, channel sooner follower.
All right, so let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And I'm going to give y'all a quiz today to start us off with from the last time we met. And it's just one question. And you guys should be able to answer it because I told you guys I would ask this as your question, as your quiz for today. So let's take a look at it. And I know I got moderators in Zoom. Please handle that. That's not Bijou. That's Zoom. Okay. It's always Zoom. Y'all know it's always Zoom. Okay. Yeah, this is the, yeah. And by the way, yes, this is the way the book looks. Can y'all see it? Take a picture of this and take screenshots. For those of you who have your cell phones, make sure y'all take screenshots of the PowerPoint. So that way you can print, and hold on, let me make this larger. That way you guys can print. You guys can print the PowerPoint out. You guys can print the PowerPoint out at the end of the class. So that way you can print it out and read the PowerPoint and have it. All right. Make sure everything's cool. Okay. Everybody see that? All right. So here we go. This is the question. Only one today. What is the difference? What is the difference between the Quran and the Mus'haf?
Okay. The Quran is the word of Allah, the speech of Allah. The Mus'haf is the book that is put in.
Okay, do you guys agree with her answer?
Agree.
Anybody disagree? What do you guys think on? Good job. What do you guys think on YouTube? Okay, Aya said the Quran is Allah's word, same as Fresno. She said his lessons to us. She went into a little bit more. The Mus'haf is the physical text. She said the Mus'haf is the physical text of the verses, same thing. She said the Mus'haf can be the entire book or just a couple of verses. Same thing. Good job. Good job. Both of you are correct. Both of you are correct. Good job. Good job. So I want you guys to remember that. I want you guys to remember that because a lot of us, especially the new shahadas, and by the way, Sister Laila, what you do is click on your box and then click where it says camera, and that will disconnect your camera or whatever. Click on camera, and that'll cut your camera off. Sister Geechee, help her to cut off her camera. You know, text her in Zoom and tell her how to cut off her camera. There she goes. She got it. Yes, good job. Okay, I want you guys to remember a lot of the new shahadas get caught up in Arabic. They'll ask me, what is a mushaf? Mushaf is simply book. That's all. Book. In plain English, a book. The Quran are the words of Allah. I want you guys to remember that. The Quran is the words of Allah. The Quran is not the creation of Allah. I don't want none of you Muslims to get that twisted. The Quran are the words of Allah. It's not a creation of Allah. I don't want any of you to have that Sufi ideology. You'll come upon a lot of Sufi people out there who will tell you that the Quran is a creation of Allah. This is incorrect. The Quran, even Allah says, is his kalam, his speech, his words. So remember that. Quran means the words of Allah. Mushaf is simply a book that holds the words, something that contains his words, something that his words are written on. You guys understand that? A lot of sisters will come to me. A lot of you new shahadas will ask, Sister Laila, can I touch the Quran when I am on my menses? This is a question that I get a lot. Can a woman touch the Quran when she's on her menses? Can a woman recite the Quran when she's on her menses? We get this question a lot. You will hear some people say, no, she should not touch the mushaf on her menses. And then you will even hear some people say, oh, she shouldn't recite the Quran on her menses. This is incorrect. Aisha, radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet, she used to recite the Quran on her menses. Salama used to recite the Quran on her menses. There is no verse in the Quran, nor is there any authentic hadith on the planet that says a woman cannot recite the Quran on her menses. Now, in regards to touching the mushaf, you have different opinions about that. You will find some scholars who say she shouldn't touch it. You will find others who say she should. When you add that she can, you will find me. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you why even worry about it. You have a cell phone. Read the Quran off your cell phone and you don't have to worry about it. This is 2025. You don't have to worry about touching the Quran on your menses. All you got to do is download it and read it off your phone. Read it off your computer. Read it off your tablet. So what are you worried about? Easy. The religion is easy. I want all Muslims to remember Islam is easy. We don't need to make it hard on ourselves. Okay? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in an authentic hadith. What's the source? Sahih Bukhari. Anyone who has common sense can understand this religion. All it takes is common sense. So there's no need for us to make this religion hard. So the Quran are the words of Allah. It's not a creation. It's the words of Allah. The mushaf is just something that contains it. Good job. So now let's get to today's lecture. And I want everybody to pay attention to the PowerPoint. Make sure you take screenshots Make sure you have a notebook to write stuff down, and any questions that you have, hold them for the end of the lecture. The Quran is not just the words of Allah, but these words also contain a lot of deep wisdom given to us by Allah. And that wisdom is embedded in the arrangement of the Quran. Okay? And that's why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that when we read it or we hear it being recited, to ponder, to think about what we're listening to, think about what we're reading, because the Quran's structure is marked by a thematic rather than a chronological sequence. And it reveals meticulous divine intents that address the spiritual and the moral and the intellectual development of its audience. And the Quran never is outdated. This is very important, because nowadays you will hear some people, including Muslims, you will hear some so-called Muslims tell you, oh, the Quran is outdated, when it's not. Being that the Quran are the words of Allah, its arrangement is not arbitrary, but instead its arrangement is imbued with deep considerations for the development of our faith and for the nature of its audience. Remember, guys, Allah is the creator. He created us. He knew what was going to happen from the time he created us until the end of time. Everything that's happening in the world today until the last hour, he already knew it would happen, because he's the one who willed it to happen. Everything that's happening in the world today, everything that happened in the past, everything that will happen in the future is going to happen and is happening and did happen because Allah willed it to happen. So that's what makes the Quran diverse and appeal to the audience, despite the era, despite the year, despite the time. And the wisdom of its arrangement guides the reader in deriving meaning from the verses and from the groups of verses and from the overriding theme of its chapters. So it's never outdated. We cannot say, oh, a woman doesn't have to cover up. That's from the old days. What do you mean it's from the old days? Women are women. Men are men. Men today are no different than how they were back in the 6th century. Women today have not changed from being how they were back in the 6th century. A man is a man is a man. And he still don't care about how you look. Put a bag on you and tip you over, and all he cares about is what's underneath. So what does that mean? You still have to cover up, sister. It's for your protection. Allah sent down the verses of hijab as a protection for women. Like he says, you do not know the evil that runs through the veins of man. Men don't change. Subhanallah. So again, guys, that's the wisdom. That's the wisdom of the Quran. It's never outdated. So the thematic arrangement of the Quran supports our journey of faith. And it also supports our understanding as human beings. The Quran offers a deep guide as to how to live a life in harmony with Allah's will by weaving together themes of faith, ethics, legislation, and human stories. Allah tells us about what happened to the people that came before us. And when you ponder the stories of people like the Ad, the Thamud, the people of Moses, the people of Solomon, the people of David, the people of Jonah, you find that they're not much different than us. People are still people. People still have the same hopes, the same strengths, the same weaknesses that they succumb to. So this guidance is not just for an individual's salvation, but the guidance that Allah gives us in that Quran is for societies, will help save societies if we would just ponder and pay attention to what Allah is saying and apply it. But again, if only man would take heed. And Allah tells us that over and over and over in so many verses of the Quran. If only man would take heed. He tells us over and over and over in many verses, only the believers take heed. For those of us who do believe in Allah, we're the ones who integrate into our faith and our daily life the laws, the rules, and guidance of Allah. But unfortunately, most of us don't believe in him. That's why there's going to be more of us in hell than there is in paradise. So the Quran is put together, is arranged as it is from the wisdom of Allah, and it applies to humans of all times, all eras, and it's a comprehensive guide. And this strategic arrangement ensures the Quran's role as a guide, that even history can't dispel. Culture cannot dispel. It gives solace and peace to those who are in need of it. It inspires upliftment when times are hard. It gives us direction to navigate the complexities of life. Subhanallah, there's nothing that we are experiencing today in 2025 that has not already been experienced throughout history. War. There's always been war. Subhanallah, we can learn from others who came before us how to handle ourselves in war. The thematic organization of the Quran, enables us to address the challenges of life with wisdom. The wisdom behind the Quran, remember, it comes from Allah. It's Allah's way of giving us insight if we would only take heed to his wisdom. The Quran, these are Allah's words. And they are a testament to us to provide comfort and inspiration, to invite us, those of us who believe in Allah, into a dynamic relationship with him, where he encourages us to reflect, to grow, and to adhere to a way that can lead us to personal fulfillment, not only in this world, but in the hereafter. But again, how many of us will take advantage of this? We get caught up in the life of this world. We make the same mistakes that the people of the Ad did, the Thamud, the Madians, the people of Jonah, the people of Moses, the people of Solomon, the people of Lot. We make the same mistakes that they did. We get caught up in the glamour of this dunya, of this world. Subhanallah. So now what I want to do is speak briefly about the compilation of the Quran. Remember, the revelation of the Quran was very monumental. The Quran was not revealed in one day. I remember during the month of Ramadan, one of the new shahadas asked me. She thought that the Quran was sent down in one night. She thought that the Quran was sent down during the night of Qadr. She misunderstood what that meant. When we speak about the night of decree, the night of Qadr, that's the night that the Quran was completed. Allah completed it. That's the night that the angel Jibril had completed the revelation with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it took 23 years, 23 years for the revelation to occur. And the revelation began in Mecca, and it did not end until the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had migrated to Medina. And as I spoke about briefly in the beginning of this lecture, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam received the call to prophethood, he was in Mecca, and Allah had to nurture the heart of the faithful. Remember, Allah tells us in the Quran, just because we say we're Muslim is not enough. Just because we say we believe in him is not enough. We have to prove it. We have to cultivate our faith. So those years in Mecca were spent building their faith, developing their faith. So the chapters of the Quran that were sent down in the beginning, while the Prophet was in Mecca, these were verses and chapters of the Quran to help strengthen their faith, teaching them about Tawheed, what it means to believe in Allah, teaching them about paradise, teaching them about death, about the punishment of the grave and things like that, to strengthen their fear of Allah. It wasn't until the Muslims migrated and moved to Medina that Allah sent down the laws. For example, the laws of hijab. How many of you knew this? The verses of hijab did not come down until after the Battle of Badr. That was in Medina. The verses commanding the Muslims to not drink alcohol did not come down either until after the Battle of Badr. That was in Medina. So the laws about governance and justice and inter-community relations, all of that came in Medina. But the first years of development were laws dealing with paradise, hell, faith, and all of that. And we're going to go into detail about that in this series. So the Quranic compilation transcends the chronological order, presenting a thematic arrangement that aligns with the Muslim community's evolving spiritually and society-wise. And that's how Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, and the companions with him decided on how they would arrange it. Okay? And this strategic arrangement ensures the Quran's timeless relevance because it guides us through the diverse challenges. The sequence from Al-Fatiha to An-Nas exemplifies the Quran's comprehensive nature. It guides us in our spiritual growth and in how to build a just moral community. And that right there, you can tell, had to be inspired by Allah. What human alone could think of that, to start off the first chapter with praising, glorifying Allah? That's Al-Fatiha. Asking Allah, begging Allah to keep you guided upon the straight path. And from there to Baqarah, and then the family of Imran, all the way through to An-Nas. Subhanallah. They had to be inspired by Allah to put it in order like that. Subhanallah. And also, when you look at the order that these chapters were placed, you see the link between personal transformation and the society's well-being. Because our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam illustrated through his actions that the strength of a leader lies in his character and his ability to inspire positive change. And these companions were with him. That's how they knew how to place those chapters, because they saw how he inspired change. They witnessed it. They witnessed how his leadership was marked by deep commitment to the well-being of his community, how his leadership advocated the rights of everyone, them first and foremost, and then those who were not even Muslims, and how he strove for social justice. Okay? He taught them that government teaches us that the path to society reform begins with the individual. Remember, Allah says he will never change the condition of a people until the people change the condition within themselves. The Prophet taught the companions that we have to change the condition within ourselves, like right now. What's happening now? The war that's going on. We got the war against Islam in its beginning stages already. It's spread it all over. It done went past Gaza now to Pakistan. It's going all over. It's already been through Africa, just like the Prophet said it would do. It began in Iraq and Afghanistan and Bosnia, and now look where it's at. This is the war against Islam. It didn't begin with Gaza. This war began under the Bush regime, okay? It's just spreading like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it would. The Prophet said whenever Allah sends war, he sends it for several reasons. He sends it to cleanse the earth of bad, corrupt Muslims. He sends it as a result of us abandoning al-wala wal-bara. We brought it on ourselves. We're not upholding the principles of allegiance and disassociation. So this is a punishment that Allah has brought upon us for not upholding al-wala wal-bara as we're supposed to. So he's cleansing the earth of bad, corrupt Muslims. And also he sends war as a means of testing the true believers with something better than all this filth of this world. Okay? So Allah is keeping his word. He's doing what he said he would do. And like the Prophet said, if you live to see war, the only way you can stop it, the only way you can change it is to change yourself. And the only way to change it is by turning back to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, turning back to that shahada, to al-wala wal-bara. And we Muslims are not doing that. We're not living al-wala wal-bara. So that's why this war will continue to spread until all 80 of those nations will sign that treaty that the Prophet said they will sign, declaring war against Islam in totality. This war is not going to stop. This is the war against Islam. So, again, our Prophet taught us that society reform begins with the individual. And when the individual fails to reform himself, what happens? Allah promises us that he will punish us all. But he also promises he will raise us all and judge us individually. Just like what you see and happening today. All the Muslims around the world who are dying as a result of the war, they will be raised up and judged individually. So by nurturing a deep connection with Allah, and by cultivating moral virtues And by actively working towards self-improvement, this is how individuals contribute to creating a society that reflects the highest ideals of Islam. It's a society where governance is not merely about laws and policies, but about fostering a community spirit that honors the dignity of every human being, subhanallah. So during the initial Meccan phases, guys, and that took 13 years. Over those 13 years of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mission, the revelation centered on Tawheed, which is what I am teaching you guys. That is what my dawah. I've been teaching Islam for over 50 years. I've been teaching Islam on the internet since 1986. Do the Google. Sunnah followers. We've been teaching Islam on the internet since 1986. And we focus on Tawheed, 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 Aqidah. Because that's what it's all about, guys. The Prophet Muhammad emphasized Tawheed. He emphasized vivid depictions of paradise and hell. These are the things that build your faith. These are the things that will cause us to submit. What does the word Muslim mean? Muslim is a person who submits to Allah. You have to fear Allah's punishment. You have to have love for Allah. With that love for him and that fear of his punishment, that's what's going to cause you to submit and obey his commands and stay away from what he commands you to stay away from. Those companions spent 13 years learning that. And once they mastered that, that's when Allah sent the laws of hijab and not drinking and all that other stuff. Okay? So this revelatory process, it resonates eternally with the believers. And it begins with the 4 significant chapters, which are Baqarah, Ali Imran, Surah Nisa, and El Ma'idah. And that's why Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, when Uthman, Ali, and Ibn Abbas, and all the companions who were living at that time met, that's why they decided, take notes, that's why they decided to put the Quran in that order, to start with Al-Fatiha, then Al-Baqarah, then Ali Imran, then Anisa, and then El Ma'idah, because these chapters of the Quran here, they focus on faith building. They focus on developing your love and your fear of Allah to help you to submit. And today, when you look at the contemporary Muslims of today, many of them find themselves trying to navigate the complexities of life. So how many of us find comfort, in these type of surahs, in reading Al-Baqarah, and Ali Imran, and Anisa? How many of us sisters, we're having problems in our marriage? You feel like your husband is not giving you your rights as a wife. You're not reading Iqra. The first words revealed were Iqra. Iqra is at the back of the book. You're not going to Iqra. You're going to the front to Anisa to hear about that. Your rights as a woman and how Allah created you equal to man. Or you're going to Al-Baqarah, because Surah Al-Baqarah got many verses about women too in there. So again, nowadays, you're going through a rough period. You want to know what food, to eat and all that. We're going to El Ma'idah. So y'all see the hikmah, the wisdom that those companions used and how they were inspired by Allah to put that Quran in order. They didn't start it with Iqra. They started with Al-Fatiha, then Al-Baqarah, Ali Imran, Anisa, the story of Jesus, the story of the family of Imran. That's the second chapter of the Quran. Hearing about Mary's mother, Mary's father, subhanallah, the family of Imran, subhanallah, Mary's mother, subhanallah. So again, this is the guidance. The guidance of these chapters not only reaffirm our identity as Muslims, but they also revitalize our role and advocate the values of Islam. Subhanallah, what wisdom. Also, the flexibility of guidance in the Quran across time, and place underscores Islam's completeness too. The structure of the book contributes to the believer's post-prophetic role as trustees of Allah's religion. This duty involves being a testament to humanity, of the justice, the mercy, and the integrity. Subhanallah. These chapters in the beginning of the Quran, they advocate justice. They advocate not being racial, not being discriminatory, and all of that. These beginning chapters talk about those type of things. Subhanallah. A life of balance, a life of fairness, a life of principles. These early chapters in the beginning of the Quran, they speak about character, honesty, having good scruples, good morals, being modest, being just in your dealings with others. It talks about the rights of inheritance, being the mahrams of the woman, all of that, suckling of children, things like that. That's all contained in these first chapters of the Quran. So again, the wisdom. So again, guys, a lot of people will come to us as Muslims with all these weird questions like, if Iqra was the first words revealed to your prophet, why doesn't your book begin with that? Because it wasn't the will of the Creator. It was the will of the Creator to organize and arrange the book in the order that it's in. So that way the Quran would be timeless. So that when you pick it up and read it, it will help to guide you to build your faith, your belief, your honor, your character, your principles. And then later take you into the laws, into the rules, and all of that. Because it's all about character anyway. It's all about honor anyway. Laws and rules are nothing if a man has no honor, if a man has no character, if a man has no dignity. Subhanallah. Allah, He's the one behind everything. Remember, Islam, our way of life, was completed and perfected by Allah. This is not a man-made religion. Our way of life was perfected, inspired, and completed by a being much higher and greater than any human. And that's Allah.